Hi. In the last video, I talked about grit, and I told you there are five things important for a student's success. One of them was grit. But I also told you that to get grit, you need to have something called as a growth mindset. Now, there's a beautiful book, What is a Growth Mindset? But I'm going to tell you a story today that makes you understand growth mindset. I listened to the content from Sadhguru, and he's got beautiful content out there. One of the content that I like the most is on his video on stress. In that video, he tells a story how an architect who's building a temple hundreds of years ago goes to the site of its construction and see a couple of people working on the temple. He goes to the first person and he asks him, "Hey, mister, are you doing?" He says, "Can't you see? I'm working very hard here and I am breaking rock." And he asks him, "Why are you doing it?" "Because it gives me money. I can take care of my family with it." He walks on, finds the next person, and he asks him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I am breaking rock, but with this rock, we're going to build a beautiful temple." He goes to the third person. And this third person, he asks him, "What are you doing?" He says, "Can't you see? Can't you see? There's going to be a beautiful temple here. And in this temple, it's going to remain for hundreds of years, and people will come from all around the world to see this beautiful temple." Now, I love this story a lot. And I said, and I shared it with my students at CFL, I said, "See, can't you see? This tells you or gives you meaning on why are you studying." But recently, I came across another version of the story to Shiv Kumar Rao, who does a course on Mind Valley. He tells it in a different version. He says that there's an architect in London who's building the great cathedral. And he goes to the site and he asks him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I am breaking rock." He says, "Why are you doing this?" "Because it gives me money and I can take care of my family." He goes to the second person and he tells him, "Can't you see?" Or he may not be able to see it, but we are building a beautiful cathedral. It'll remain for hundreds of years and people from all around the world will come and see it. He goes to the third person. This third person recognizes the architect. And he tells him, when he asks the question, "What are you doing?" he tells him, "This job doesn't pay me enough. But I'm doing this job not only because I'm building a great cathedral, of course I want to be a part of it, but I am doing this because I want to learn how to build a cathedral." Now, the first and the second story might look the same, but the second story extends and it says, 20 years down the line, the first person was breaking rock, cannot break rock anymore, and is poor and he's got no money left with him. The second person who wanted to build a great temple, a great this thing, is similar in the same situation. Maybe he has the satisfaction that he's built a great temple or a great cathedral, but he doesn't have much more. However, the third person who wanted to learn to build a great cathedral is now an architect and building cathedrals. How is this related to growth mindset, you ask me? Let me tell you. When a student comes to study at CFL or any other school, if they're coming just because they've been coming to study or because they have to study, they're like the first person who's coming there to break rock. Somebody's asked them to do it, the parents have asked to do it, maybe the society asked them to study, so they're studying. The second person is like the person who says, "I'm building a great cathedral there and people will come for hundreds of years to see it." It is like this person who studies to write for competitive exams like IIT, maybe the NEET, or maybe the UPSC exams for IASC, or the exams to get into MIT and so on. He might get there and he might have real satisfaction of getting there. But the third person who's there is not only doing for those first two reasons, but also doing so that one day he's going to apply the things that he learned to his life or to his job and become very successful. Growth mindset is like that. If you're coming, or if you're going to school, if you're going to CFL, or you're going to any other institute, because you want to learn and someday you're going to apply what you learned to your job, to your life, then you are like that person who will remain, not only be successful in competitive exams, but you will apply the things that you've learned to your job and to your life and be able to go on to do greater things in life. When you have the third perspective, it gives you a lot of strength. It gives you a lot of meaning for the work that you're doing. And it gives you the power to sustain. And with that, you will have perseverance. And with that, and to have that, you have growth mindset. So that's how it is. Growth mindset comes with a change in the way you think. Now, if you're a teacher and you are coming into the school to teach, it's like you're the person who's coming there to break rocks at the cathedral or the temple. If you're there coming there to school to teach so that you're sending the students to IITs, NEET, or the IAS exams or the other exams in the world, then you're like that person who's building the great cathedral or the great temple. But if you're coming to the school so that one day, along with these students going to the top colleges in the country, you too will become a top teacher in the country or the top teacher in the world, then you're like this person who is the third person. Not only this person building a great cathedral, he's also learning to become an architect. You need to come with that mindset, and that's the growth mindset. If you are a student, you need to come with the mindset that what I learned today, I will apply that knowledge in the future and be successful with it. That's how simple growth mindset is. And when you have a growth mindset, you will have perseverance and you will have grit. And when you have all this, there is nothing to stop you from being successful. Nothing is going to stop me from being successful. And that's all it is.